Part 2 on how council tax is destroying the NHS. I'm Rachel, I'm a public and social policy consultant on a mission to scrap council tax, and I want to talk about social care. I've just made a video about the social determinants of health and how the geography of where you live and the way in which we fund local government services is having a massive impact on our health, which is having a massive impact on the NHS. But there is one thing that I deliberately didn't include in that video, and that is adult social care. Not because I forgot, but because it deserves its own video. Adult social care is the biggest service that your council provides. It's the most expensive service that your council provides. It's one of the council's most under pressure services. It's one of the council's most underfunded services, and it's one of their most critical services. And it's the service that interacts the most with our health services. In some poorer areas, adult social care account for as much as 75% of a council's budget, which means all of the services are being squeezed into that last 25%. If you look at my other video around the social determinants of health, these are areas like public health, environmental health, air pollution, those kinds of things. These are all things that are heavily dictating the health of the population. Now, social care is a funny one because it is a cause as well as a symptom. So people living in poorer conditions with poorer mental health, poorer physical health, poorer access to education services, poorer access to employment, they're more likely to need adult social care support. And in areas with high levels of deprivation, we have something called a weak tax base. And that means that the population or the taxable community, the people who pay council tax to that council, they're just not wealthy. They don't live in higher banded properties. They don't live in affluent areas. They struggle to afford their council tax. That's called a weak tax base. Social care is funded by council tax. It's not the only funding stream for adult social care. I need to be, I'm fully aware of this. But as with other services, council tax is becoming more and more important as other sources of income drop, including government grants. So while government grants for adult social care are in monetary terms going up, in real terms and in terms of the cost of the provision, we're at a deficit. Now, adult social care interacts with the NHS in a number of ways. One of the most significant ways is about hospital discharges into community care. In areas with massively underfunded and overstretched adult social care services, there are people staying in hospital beds that are greatly needed by other people because of adult social care. Not their fault, not dissing adult social care in any way. Good grief, do they have a tough job to do? This is the structural inequality in the system, not any individual issues with any individual person or council. It's bigger than them. Overstretched and underfunded adult social care also influences who ends up in hospital as well as those who can leave safely. At-home help provided through adult social care is chargeable in almost every council area. Now, regardless of means testing, when you simply cannot afford to have professional social help in any way, you're likely to turn to a family member. And so informal unpaid care is providing us so much care, it's the equivalent of a second NHS in England and Wales. Deficits in adult social care and the inability of the council tax and local taxation system to fully account for regional and geographic inequalities is failing not only the people that need the social care, but their carers as well. Now, I'm certainly not the first person to think all this, and there is a commission at the moment called the Casey Commission looking at the potential viability for a national care service. And I understand that one of the mechanisms that they're looking about around that viability is taking adult social care out of the local taxation system and funding it more like a national health service, which I think makes perfect sense if distribution formula takes into account the social determinants of health and the impact that poverty is having. But we don't know what they're going to say yet. Hopefully the recommendations will be a national care service. Because it's needed, the longer we keep social care, adult social care specifically, in local taxation through council tax. In fact, if you look at your recent bill that you will have had in late March, it will have an adult social care precept. That means an additional amount that the council providing adult social care in your area raise an extra amount of council tax that has to go specifically just to adult social care. Now, studies have shown that areas with a weak tax base, it is inverse. So their ability to raise additional money through the adult social care precept is directly impacted by the deprivation and poverty. Crikey, it's been a long day. Deprivation and poverty. I mean, again, no shit, Sherlock. Doesn't take a genius to work this out. But as a vital additional funding stream for adult social care, we're again trying to tap the same weak tax base. We're trying to tap up the same impoverished source for people who need it the most. I talked in my other video about something called the inverse care law. We have an inverse social care law, in my view. Areas and communities that need the most adult social care are often the most underfunded because they cannot afford the council tax that funds the majority of what they need. This is just one of the many ways in which council tax is the worst. We need better policy.